So here, so one of the tasks of the system administrator is controlling who has access to what. So you may have different level of employees. Some employee might be at the manager level. Some of them would be just intern, okay, and some of them, for example, in marketing department. So for the marketing department people, you may restrict them to access to accounting department files, okay? Or there might be some people at the manager level, and you may want to give them extra permission so that they can access to the files of multiple departments, okay? So and also in some cases, instead of giving permission for this individual and another employee, so that might be a lot of work. Instead, you may create role, okay, and then you give some permission or some restriction to the role, and then you assign people to the roles, and then those people will inherit the permission level from the role, okay? So we will learn about this. So we will use a combination of user accounts, groups, permissions. So we can control at granular level, so who has access. But it is also important to pay attention what a user has access to, because the rule of thumb is you should give permission to the people, just enough permission to get the job done. So no more than what is needed, okay? So for example, if they need to access file, I don't know, maybe 6 files, don't give them access to 7 files, just 6, whatever needed, no more, okay? All right, so there are multiple parts in this assignment, so we will go them one by one. I think some of them we talked about it last week. Okay, so we will have create user accounts. So there are the users have 2 accounts. One of them is to identify a user, okay? So, okay, this person is this, and also to authenticate by using the username, password, okay? The identity describes who the user is to a system, okay? And this allows the system to know what resources you should be able to access, okay? And also what actions you can perform, all right? The authentication is the process of proving who you say you are, okay? So that is the authentication. Just because you are authenticated, that doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want, okay? So you can do anything that doesn't mean you can do anything. So the authentication simply says that you prove that you are this specific person, okay? In that case, we use username and password, okay? And user has 2 types of, the Linux has 2 types of user accounts. The first one is super user account, okay? And this is often limited to only one account called root, okay? So this account is created by default, and in sometimes it is disabled, and it has complete access to everything on the system. So it is not a good idea to use this account on a production system because it could lead to potentially doing something to damage the system, okay? So we don't want anybody to become too powerful, okay? The other accounts, the other user accounts are known as just normal accounts, okay? And these accounts are limited to only running certain applications and accessing only files and directories that they have permission to access. And the normal accounts are often created, provide users with access to system, and they are also often created for applications to be able to access resources as well. So that doesn't mean that the users are the only for the human beings. And as we will see later, there are also some other users in the system. They are used by the applications, okay? So normal accounts can be given ability to run as super user, okay? Using a special command sudo, okay? So that is super user do, okay? Or that means do things as super user, right? And then this allows you to elevate the permission for a single user, for a single command. And then in our system, there is already an account with the username user, okay? And then we see that at the login account. So here, I believe this must be my recorded video. Let me see. Yes, yeah. So these are my recording that the screen shots. So this screen may look different than how we do it. For example, here it says CCH user CentOS OS. It is because I recorded this video last year, okay? But this is my recording, and I hope it will also help you. But you can watch that later. And here I explain how to create groups and users, but I will do that also in this course. So first, let's log into CCH Sandbox. Okay. Okay, so from here, I click on the deployments. So where is that? Here, okay. CentOS. And then I click on this one. And let me connect to it. So as you see, it is currently on. So it is running. Let me connect to it. Okay, so let's look at the instruction. Okay, so it says login. Okay, so I am logging as user PA $$ W0RD. Okay, yeah, so this is the one. Not now. Let me just minimize this Firefox. Okay, and this is what we did last week. Okay, now so open the terminal. We have the terminal already. Actually, let me just close this. So if you see this desktop from the applications, okay, favorites, okay, terminal. All right, so we have terminal open, and then it says, look at the, so run this command, okay, etc password. So we use less because there are a lot of information. So we say less, okay, and then put /, okay. So if I don't do that, there is no, if I do this, it will look for the etc folder where I am. So actually, where am I? If I say, by looking at here, I see tilde. That means I am inside of my home directory. So let me type WPD. I'm sorry, PWD, home user. So because I am the user, all right. So that is my username is user, and I am inside of my folder, PWD. And then, so if I say less, I need to put absolute path, which means I start with the slash, etc. This password, like PASSWD. Okay, so here it starts with the root. So this shows all the users in this system. So we have root and bean, daemon, and there are so many. Okay, and some of these are used by the operating system, and some of them is used by some applications. And as you see, some of them are necessary for the operating system, but we don't want anybody to log in as this. So for the security, it says no login at the end. Okay, so let me press space to go to the next line, next page. And as you see, very at the end of the this system, I see user, which is this is my information. Okay, and so let's see what the others. So the user is the username of this particular user. Okay, and here, all right. So this opens, by the way, PASSWD, this is a file. So even if there is no .txt at the end, still this is a text file. And then we see the content of text file with the less or more or cat. But in this case, because there are a lot of lines, so I use less. All right, so the first one is root, okay, and the others are accounts created for the applications. And then if you place space bar, and then this one is the user account, and all the new accounts will be added at the end of this file, okay. And so each line has some information, okay. The first one is the username, okay, which is user. And the next is marked with an X. In older versions of Linux, this is where the password would have been stored, okay? So, but here, X is just a placeholder. So for the security, the password information is not stored here. So we will see that in another file, okay? And then we have 1000 after. So I think there will be, let me see, 9, right? Yes, there are, no, not 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7. I think the 9 is with the other one. So each of them we have several information. Okay, so 7 information, and each of them are separated with column. Okay, and so we learned that the first one is username, second one is the placeholder for the password. The first number is here UID, which is user identification number. Okay, and so this is unique for each user. Yeah, so when a new user is created, the UID will be the next number in sequence. So when we create another user, it will be 1001 and then 1002, and it keeps going. And the second number is group ID. Okay, so we will talk about the groups, but imagine that you are an employee and you are hired to a company, and then you will be placed in one of two groups. For example, let's say you will be placed in accounting department, or you will be in, I don't know, the marketing department. Actually, you can be a part of multiple groups, but let's say you your username has your user account has just been created. Even if you are not a part of a group yet, still there will be a group created for you, and the name of the group has the same name as you and the same ID, okay, group ID. Okay, so in this case, the group ID is also 1000, okay? Okay, and then the next part is for a comment about the user account. So in most cases, this will include the user's full name, okay? So in that case, it is just user. So if you remember, when we create the user, we put the user as the full name, okay? And then the next path is the user's home directory. And as you see, it is /home/user. So this is our home directory. So in that case, when you download or when you create document, the system knows which directory is yours. And then the last section tells the system which command shell to use. So in our case, we use bash command shell, but in some cases, some program may not have any shell. So most cases it is bin bash, okay? Also, no login is another option. So this causes the user not to be able to log in, okay? Yeah, so usually these are created for the applications and not for the user to log in. And each user account needs a password. And for security reason, the password is not stored in this file, the password file or PASSWD. I know that this is a little bit confusing because the passwords are not stored in the passwd file, right? That is a little bit funny and confusing. The passwords are actually stored in another file, and because it is the highly confidential file, and the information is not able to be seen by the just regular normal user. So you need to elevate your privilege by using sudo to see that. And these are stored in shadow file. Okay, so shadow is also a text file. And also it is in the etc directory. So now let's look at here. Let me go back to here. Okay, and so right now I still see the content of the passwd file. I just press Q to get out of from this less. So here, if I say less, etc, and then shadow. Okay, less, one more S, less. Okay, it says permission denied. Okay, because user is regular user, but I need to elevate myself. So temporarily, I make myself as super user. So I say sudo at the beginning, and then I use the same thing, less, etc, shadow. Okay, and then the password is PA $$W0RD. Okay, so we start with the root, and I see all of the users, and then press space character. Okay, look very at the end. I see user, this is the user, and then we have some information. These are the hashed version of the password. So we don't see the plain text, so we see the the hashed version of the password. Okay. Okay. So again, so for security reason, it doesn't store them in plain text, but it uses as hash algorithm. So this is very secure way, because when someone put the password, it is hashed again, and then it is compared with the system, and if they match, and it says, okay, this is this person. Okay. So this creates a long string of characters only the system can understand. So for accounts that has two exclamation mark, that means there is no password set for those accounts, and most application user accounts cannot log in. Therefore, there is no password needed. So if I scroll up a little bit, as you see, these are the not the user accounts for the human beings. These are for the applications, and we see two exclamation mark instead of the hashed function, because they cannot log in, so there is no password. Okay. And now let's create some additional user. So to create a user, we use this command, user add. Okay. And then, so we use sudo to elevate our privilege. Okay. And then we say user add, and this C, the option dash C, allows us to put, remember, we put the comment, so remember from the comment. Okay. So we put full name Mike Smith in the comment field, and then M Smith is the login name, so which is at the end. Okay. And then, so this goes together. So the dash C for the comment, and then you put your comment, which is full name, and then you use this one for the user. So we do the password later, but let's create this first. So here I say Q to get out of from here, and then I say sudo. Okay, and then if you look at here, we say user add, and then Mike Smith. User add, and then dash C, and then Mike Smith, close within the double quotations, and then username is M Smith. Okay. Okay, we do that. So let's see if it has been actually created. So to see this, we look at the password. Okay. So I say less. To see the passwd file, the sudo is not necessary. So we say etc. Okay, and then press space. Okay, as you see at the end, we have M Smith username, and this one 1001, it is incremented automatically. So user 1000, this is 1001, and the other 1001 is the group ID. When we create a user, actually we also create a group which has the same name as the user. Okay, so let me Q to get out of from here. Okay, so we did that. All right, so now, so this might be a little bit confusing. PASSWD. Actually, you may get confused that you may think that this is the name of the text file inside of the etc directory. Actually, it's not. I know that it is confusing because they have the same spelling, but actually this is a command. This is a command to set the password for the users. Okay, so we just do that. Before doing it, let's look at the password for the M Smith. Okay, so I say sudo less etc and not this one. Okay, remember this is to see the content, the users. I want to see the passwords. Okay, so that is not the passwords but the hashed of the passwords. So shadow. Okay, so what is the problem? Any idea? I did not make this mistake on purpose, but I am glad that I made a mistake. So maybe you can tell me where the problem is.
Is it the forward slash?
Yes, before the @c, I need to put forward slash. Yes, very good. Because this is absolute path. So sudo less shadow and then space. Okay. As you see, the user has a password, but msmith, it has exclamation mark. Okay, that means we have not set up the password yet. All right, so let me press Q. Okay, now here we will say sudo password msmith, and the password is just to remember easily. So for the consistency, let's use the same thing so that we are not get confused. So what it was. So sudo, okay, this is the command and the name of the m smith username. Okay, so changing the password. So PA $$ W0RD. Enter. It says bad password. Okay, retype. Okay, it says it was successfully updated. And let's look at the sudo less etc shadow and space. Okay, as you see, msmith, this is actually the hash of the password. Okay, so we don't see the password as plain text, but we see the hash of it. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so we looked at the shadow, and actually we may notice that the hash values for two passwords are different, even though they have the same password. This is because Linux adds a salt value, a random number, to a hash algorithm for each password. So if you look at here, the user and msmith, they both have the same plain text password. They have both have the same one, but if you see, the hash are different because the Linux use a salt value to randomize it a little bit. Okay, so let me press Q. All right, now what does it say? Uh, Create the following user accounts and set password this for each. So we can do this in two ways. I can create the user and then set the password. Create another user, set the password. I think that would make it a little bit longer because I want to take advantage from the history of the commands by pressing the up arrow key. I can use it. So let's create all the users first and then set the password. So Terry Anderson. And the username is simple. I mean, the first letter of the first name and then last name. Okay, so Terry Anderson. So let's go back to here. So if I scroll down, yeah. So here, sudo, okay, and then user add -c, and then Terry Anderson. All right. Is it correct spelling? Terry Anderson. I believe, yes, Terry Anderson. And then T. Anderson. Okay, that's correct. Now, let me go up and then the next one. What is the next one? Jake Moore. Jake Moore. And J Moore. Okay, that's good. What else? John Denver. John Denver. J Denver. Okay, what else? Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon. J Fallon. Okay, so if you look at the let's see, let's look at the users space. Okay, why there is Tenderson but not the others? Any idea? Why I see Tenderson but I don't see the Jimmy Fallon, Jake Moore? Where are they?
Hit space.
Yes, exactly. When I say hit space, then I see the others. Okay, yes. And if you realize the user IDs, 1002, 3, 4, 5. So it increments. Okay, and then Q, and let's look at the passwords. So I say sudo less etc shadow and space again. Okay, as you see, the Tenderson, Jmore, 2 exclamation marks. That means we have not set up the password yet. Okay, now it says the password will be password. Okay, so now let's do this. Sudo, okay, and then swd Tenderson. Okay, Tenderson. Okay, new password. I just use the same password. Retype $. Okay, now next we are done with the Tenderson. Jmore, and then okay. Okay, that's good. Then what? J Denver. Okay, that's good. What else? J Denver, J Pelham. Okay, that's good. So now let's look at the um, let's look at shadow again. Space. Excellent. As you see, we have Tenderson here, and then J Moore right here, J Denver right here, J Fallon right here, and all of them has. And if you also realize, the hash of those passwords are different than each other, because Linux uses the salt to randomize the hash. Okay, and after that, I believe you need to take a screenshot. Let me see. Yeah, show the last 6 line of the etc password file. Remember, when you say tail, if you just say tail, it displays the last 10 lines of the tail. But here, you will just use -6 just to display the last 6 lines, okay? And then you show the last 6 lines of the shadow file like this. Okay, and so 2 screenshots from here. So now let's move on. So if you want to delete a user from the system, you can use command. Actually, before doing this, let me go to here and let me show you. So Q from here. Okay, and let me clear the page. And here, if I say pwd, I am inside of the user folder. If I say cd ... okay, so now it says home. Okay, home. Let me say ls, because I am inside of the home, right? pwd, I am inside of the home. So let's see what directories are here in the home. I say ls. Okay, as you see, I have the home directory of 6 users. If you remember, before we had just user, and then now we have more. If I say, let's go inside of the J Denver, cd J Denver. Okay, press enter. Okay, permission denied. It makes sense, right? Because if you look at the prompt, so this is the prompt, okay? And this $sign shows that I am just a regular user, normal user. I am not super user, okay? And user is my username. So it makes sense that I don't go someone else's property, okay? And here, let me say LL. Okay, now here I see J Denver. So these are the names, the blue colored ones, name of the directories. And here I also see who is the owner, J Denver. The first one is the owner, okay? And the second one, who is the group of this directory, okay? It is J Denver. Remember, when we create J Denver user, we created a user, and also we created a group which has J Denver. Okay, so this is the group of this J Denver directory. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now let's see. So also when you delete the user, okay, this directory remains there. So if you want to get rid of the J Denver, for example, J Denver user, you may also, most of the time, you also want to delete everything associated with this user. which means the home directory. Okay, so when you delete the user with this command, user del, you remove the user, but also to remove the user's home directory, you must use -r. Okay, so like this, sudo user del, and then you use this option to delete also the home directory. Okay, so let's do this. User del jmore. Okay, so sudo user del -r to also delete the home directory, jmore. Okay, and then password for user p a $, this. All right, so here, how can we verify this? Let's look at the ls. So as you know, pwd, I am still inside of the home directory, which is not my home directory. If I say my home directory, that means user directory. But home directory is not my home directory. The home directory includes the home directories of the users. Okay, so here if I say ls, okay, jmore is not there anymore. Now also let's look at the etc. etc pa test wd. Okay, jmore is not here anymore. And as you see, there is a gap. We have users 1001, 1002. There is no 1003 because we have just deleted it. Okay, Q. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so we talk about sudo. That means you temporarily elevate the privilege of a user. Okay, so basically you make the user a little bit more powerful for a short period of time. So we see the sudo. There is also su command. So this is to switch users, to test the permission of a different user account. Okay, so here to switch user, we just type su to switch user, and then you use the username of another user to switch. So for example, so we say su m smith. Okay, so su m smith p a p $. Okay, now on if you look at the prompt, it says M Smith. Okay, which means I temporarily became M Smith. So this might be useful from time to time that you want to know what M Smith can do or cannot do. You impersonate, basically. You become M Smith temporarily, and then you try things to see the permissions of that user. Okay, and to go back to original user account, we just type exit. Okay, yeah, so you may think why we use it. It is just to test permission of other users when installing applications or setting file permissions. So using su without a username will change you to the root user, but it is not advised to work while logged in as root user account because you really become very, very powerful. Okay, so
can you still
hear me?
Yes.
Just one second. What happened? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep. I can
Yes.
hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yes. I think the AirPod battery died. So, okay, so let me see. I think, yeah, on the left I have some 71%. Anyway, so so you may think that okay, it is good to be very powerful, but actually it is not, because when you become powerful, you can do so many dangerous things as the root, okay? And then you don't want to be very, very powerful in the system, because power comes with the responsibility. But if you just say SU, then you become root, okay? And okay, so we will, we see that sudo command is the one that you will use quite often. So that means instead of becoming root, you just make yourself root temporarily. Okay, so that is better. So this command allows you to run as the root user for specified command, and sometimes this is necessary. Okay, because if you want to see, for example, the hash of the passwords, then you need to look at the shadow file, and then you need to elevate yourself. Okay, and when the system installed, the user account was given the ability to run this command by making it an administrator. So if you remember, so if you want to add other users, we must add them to the sudoers. That means the people who can use sudo. Okay, so because if you just hire a person, an intern to your company, and you don't want this person to use sudo and then do everything whatever they want, um, you don't put them in sudoers. But for others, if you put them, make them sudoers, then you give them ability to elevate the privilege. So to do this, we use a special vi command to edit the sudoers file, which is vsudo. Okay, so we say sudo vsudo. So let's do that. So here, let me say exit. All right, now I am back to user again, and then I say sudo vsudo. Okay, and then password. Okay, so this is a text file, and then we need to change some part. So scroll down, okay, until you see the following lines, root, and then we add M. Smith just after this. So let me. Okay, so here it shows that allow root to run any commands anywhere. So here I press I to go inside of to the insert mode. Okay, I. Okay, now I am in the insert mode, and go to the end of the line, press enter, and then type this M Smith all. Okay, and then save and exit. M Smith. Smith, okay, and then here you can press tab key, and then all equals all, tab key, all. Okay, and then to go to the command mode, press escape, so the insert will be invisible. So okay, now colon write Q, save and quit. Okay, now what else? So this will allow msmith account to run sudo commands. Okay, now part 2, Linux groups. So let me see. Linux groups. All right, so at least we can get started with this. So the group is used to create a role and then assign users to that role. So this makes it easy. For example, let's consider a scenario. Let's say in the marketing department, there are 10 users, okay? And then for some reason, you may say that the marketing department should not have access to this printer because now they should use the other printer, okay? Or the other file server, whatever it is, okay? And then instead of changing the permission level, all 10 people in the department, you just change the permission level of the role. And then because all the users is a part of that role, that group, you don't need to do 10 the same task. You just change the permission level of the group, and then everybody gets that permissions. Okay, what else? So we create a group. So once we create group, we can add users to that group and manage the permissions with the groups rather than individual basis. So if I look at the group, okay, so this is how we see sudo less. So it is in the etc and group. So here sudo less etc group. So you may think that we are not going to see any group because we have not created any group yet. Let me ask you, have I created any group yet? Have I created any group yet?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. So anybody wants to answer? Any other ideas? Have I created any group yet? Just because I am asking, I guess the answer is clear, yes. But can you name one of the group that I have created? Okay, so let me tell one of them, Tenderson or M. Smith. Remember, when we create a user, we also create a group with the same name as that user. Okay, so here if I say sudo less etc group,
So each user you created also has their own individual group, or are all the
yes.
users in one group?
No. We have user, and then each user. So for example, M Smith user has also M Smith group, and then also that user automatically assigned into that group, which has the same name it is.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you.
So here, let me type the password. Okay, and so here we have root. So root is user, but also it's a group. Bin, daemon. As you see, all of the users have also the same name with their group, and then press space. One more. Okay, as you see, these are the groups which has the same name as their user names. And if you see, this is the group ID. So this is different than this. If you look at the passwd, okay. So for example, let's look at jfallon. jfallon has the user ID 1005 and the group ID 1005. Okay, so by looking here, I see both user ID and group ID. But if I look at the group ID, I just see group ID. I cannot see, if I see the user ID, that doesn't make sense because theoretically there could be multiple users assigned to the same group. Okay, so by here in the group, I just see the group ID. Okay, yeah, so let me press Q. Let me scroll down. Okay, so we did that. So there is a group for each user, and actually these are the primary groups for each user. So a user can be a part of multiple groups, but each user has only one primary group, okay, and then multiple secondary group. So these are there are uses for primary groups, but these are more advanced topics. So much like a passwd file, a etc group file has sections of information separated by columns. Okay, so this one is group name, the first one, and the second one is the group password, but we will not set a password for the groups. So this placeholder, and the group, and then this number is the group ID. Okay, and then here it talks about the group add. So we have approximately 1 minute. So let me stop here. Do you have any question? Okay, any question? Okay, so have a nice day then.